Well, this will certainly change the industry massively. This is an exclusive to Deadline. They've actually been speaking to some of the studio executives, and it looks like Hollywood studios' sort of end game, as it were, for the WGA strike is to actually let the writers go broke. They're waiting it out. They are waiting it out. And this is not unexpected. It is kind of a war of attrition at this point in time. Who can wait out the longest? And it does seem like the studios can wait out the longest. I mean, they've got the most bankroll behind them. They have the most say. So let's take a look at this. Now, I'm neither for or against the writers. I think ultimately, so what came first situation, the chicken or the egg? Is it the studio telling the writers to write absolute drivel? Is it the writers pitching stuff to the studio that is absolute drivel? Who knows? I think it's a combination, ultimately. There are definitely some writers that should not be writing in Hollywood, unequivocally. So I'm neither for or against. But let's take a look at this, because this is interesting. So this is an exclusive, updated with AMPTP statement, so that's important. Regardless of whether SAG-AFTRA goes on strike this week, the studios have no intention of sitting down with the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, for several more months, because they're trying to wait it out until they get ultimate power, bargaining power. I think we're in for a long strike, and they're going to let it bleed out, said one industry veteran, intimate with the point of view of studio CEOs. With the Scribes strike now finishing its 71st day, and the Actors Union just 30 hours from a possible labour action of its own, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers are planning to dig in hard this fall before even entertaining the idea of more talks with the WGA. Not Halloween precisely, but late October for sure is the intention, says a top-tier producer close to the Carol Lombardini run AMPTP. So they're just like, no, we're not interested. This is going to have such a huge knock-on effect for the industry. You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff that has been shelved for ages released, and it's going to be drivel. You're going to have so much stuff released that's not particularly good either. It's good. Everything's going to... This is bad. This is real bad for entertainment. And the argument could be that obviously, the sticking point is AI. They don't want AI involved, which makes sense. And the argument could be that if it is involved, then it's going to be worse anyway. So while some dismiss this as cynical strike talk, studio and streamer sources around town confirm the strategy. They also confirm that the plan is to grind down the guild. Has long been in the works for a labour cycle that all sides agree is a game changer one way or another for Hollywood. It's been agreed to for months, even before the WGA went out, one executive said. Nobody wanted a strike, but everybody knew this was make or break because of cost cutting. It's what it is, it's all cost cutting. So receiving positive feedback from Wall Street since the WGA went on strike May 2nd, Warner Brothers Discovery, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Paramount and others have become determined to break the WGA, as one studio executive blatantly put it. These are this is why this article is interesting. They're speaking to actual studio executives that are like, yeah, we want to break them. Fuck them, basically. To do so, the studios and the AMPTP believe that by October, most writers will be running out of money after 5 months on the picket lines and no work. The end game, direct quote, the end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses, a studio executive told Deadline. Acknowledging the cold as ice approach, several other sources reiterate the statement. One insider called it a cruel but necessary evil. Fucking hell. Excuse the language, but goddamn. Wow. Like, seriously, wow. The studios and streamers next think financially. Strapped writers would go to WGA leadership and demand they restart talks before what could be a very cold Christmas. And in that context, the studios and streamers would have the upper power. So it's all a power play. So the severe method comes out of the Guild's successful battle with the agencies in 2021 over dismantling the lucrative practice of packaging. The WGA picked off one agency after another until final holdout, WME backed down, a tactic seen as a warning sign by many in the studio and streamer world. Convinced that giving in, as another insider put it, to the writers will result in every contract cycle from the WGA, IATSE, the Teamsters and more ending in a strike. The AMPTP is aiming for the bottom line. So, what does the AMPTP say? These anonymous people are not speaking on behalf of AMTP or member companies who are committed to reaching a deal and getting our industry back to work. Yeah, bollocks. Like, come on. Come on. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that this is highly likely. Highly likely. Everything's shut down now. Very little is being shot. I think there's a whole bunch of stuff still being shot in the UK. I don't know whether it affects it that much over here. Because even Brad Pitt's new F1 film, Formula 1 racing film, was being shot just at the weekend in the UK as well. This is pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy. Now, what will happen if the actors strike? Well, meh. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's really, really hard to feel pity for these people. The studio or the writers, in fairness. Like I said, I don't really sit anywhere on this. I'm very much a fence sitter on this because I think the writers have produced drivel. I think the studios have produced drivel. So I don't really care about either of them. But I do know, this is why I am reporting on it, is that this is going to massively reshape the industry moving forwards. Unrecognisably. Especially if they start bringing AI into it. They really should not bring AI into the writing process. Honestly, they really shouldn't. It actually becomes really, really apparent when AI has written stuff. So anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think on this? Let me know down below in the comment section. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Give the bell notification a lovely little love tap. Leave your thoughts down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.